Warning. Warning. You are about to enter the propaganda report with Brad Binkley.
That's right.
Warning. Warning.
Take cover.
You are about to enter the propaganda report with Brad Binkley.
You have, in fact, entered the propaganda report, and I am your host, Brad Binkley. It's February 10th, 2026. We have a great show for you all tonight, a brisk but great show. Let me know in the chats how the audio is, if there's any issues. Hopefully everything's working smoothly. But it's going to be fun tonight because someone finally did it. Someone finally named names, redacted names, that is, in the Epstein files, as it was revealed yesterday by Representative Thomas Massie, a libertarian favorite, and Democrat Ro Khanna. I keep wanting to say Rihanna, but Thomas Massie and Representative Rihanna. I shouldn't say that. It's not who it is. It's Ro Khanna. So Democrat and Libertarian work together as they did a press conference last evening after they visited the unredacted skiff of the Epstein files. What's up, Deez? How's the audio sound, Deez? Sound all right? Before I go full in, I didn't mean to stop mid-monologue, but it's like every other show. There's some little audio problems, so I just want to make sure. Don't have to repeat. Awesome. Great. So they came out, Massie and Rahana, and they gave a press conference, and they said there are 6 unredacted names, among other things, that we saw. They're redacted in the public files, who we believe these need to be revealed to the public because they could be implicated in Epstein's crimes. They were specifically honed in on that, and, you know, they have the power to say those names without fear of defamation under the speech and debate clause in the Constitution as congressmen, because the speech and debate clause allows congressmen and women and Congress theys to go on the floor of Congress and during a legislative session, during legislative procedures, any legislative act, they can say and do things that they have immunity for from criminal prosecution or civil suit. And there's oftentimes people saying they're going to go down, they're going to say things like this, but very rarely do we actually see them do it. But gosh darn it, they actually did it for one time. They stepped up and they did what they were going to say they did. Oh yeah, AM Wake Up was fun. Check out AM Wake Up with Steve and T Lav. It's a good show this morning. I love hanging out with those guys. We were talking a little bit about this. The Congressman Ro Khanna, the Democrat, he went on the congressional floor and he said the 6 names that America has been wondering who these 6 redacted names are. And I'm gonna let him take it away for you guys. Here he is naming names. For the first time, we finally get some new and relevant information, really relevant, in my opinion. Here is the congressman from California saying what we all want to hear.
Mr. Speaker, yesterday, Congressman Massie and I went to the Department of Justice to read the unredacted Epstein files. We spent about 2 hours there, and we learned that 70 to 80% of the files are still redacted. In fact, there were 6 wealthy, powerful men that the DOJ hid for no apparent reason. When Congressman Massie and I pointed this out to the Department of Justice, they acknowledged their mistake, and now they have revealed the identity of these 6 powerful men. These men are Salvatore Navora, Zorab Mikaladze, Leopig Leonor, Nicola Caputa, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, CEO of Dubai Ports World, and billionaire businessman Leslie Wexner, who was labeled as a co-conspirator by the FBI. Now, my question is...
Let's give them what they deserve here. Finally, let's hear those names again, because I have only heard of Lex Wexner. Wexner, who the 88-year-old former CEO of Victoria's Secret. Those other people I've never heard of in my life, and I can't even find any information on them. See, one more time, let's hear it, and then we'll see what we can find out about them, if anything.
Hours there, and we learned that 70 to 80% of the files are still redacted. In fact, there were 6 wealthy, powerful men that the DOJ hid for no apparent reason. When Congressman Massey and I pointed this out to the Department of Justice, they acknowledged their mistake, and now they have revealed the identity of these 6 powerful men. These men are Salvatore Navora, Zorab Mikoladze, Leopig Leonor, Nicola Caputa, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, CEO of Dubai Ports World, and billionaire businessman Leslie Wexner, who was labeled as a co-conspirator by the FBI. Now, my question is, why did it take Thomas Massey and me going to the Justice Department to get these 6 men's identities to become public? And if we found 6 men that they were hiding in 2 hours, imagine how many men they are covering up for in those 3 million files. But the story gets worse. The reality is that Donald Trump's FBI scrubbed these files in March, long before Thomas Massey and I passed the Epstein Transparency Act. Now, my bill is clear. The Epstein Transparency Act requires them to unredact those FBI files. And yet the Justice Department said to me and to Congressman Massey, we just uploaded whatever the FBI sent us. And guess what? The FBI sent scrubbed files.
Of course, they sent scrubbed files. There's 3 million of them, as they said. Not defending anybody with unjust defending, but these 3 million files, no one individual on the planet can go through all of these files themselves in a single lifetime. There's no one sitting at a desk with a redaction pen deciding on what the redactions are. This is probably AI that they used to redact, or they probably gave some parameters and definitely took a few liberties for some maybe friends of powerful people. There's no doubt about that. But acting like there was somebody sitting there with a pen deciding with the ultimate executive decision is a little unrealistic, because it's a group effort to go through them, just as it has got to be a group effort with so many files, so many emails, which, by the way, we have the Gmails from Epstein. How about the Proton mail? How about the more secure emails where keep the photos and videos away from people. You don't want to see those. They're just going to arrest you if you want to see those. Stop asking for those. Okay? But he's not going to be revealing his inner workings. He does a little, but not in real detail in a Gmail account. A lot of this stuff is released, I think, on purpose to muddy the water, to release a bunch of things that's unrelated, to put a bunch of things in there, because I was going through them, and you find a bunch of things that aren't even related to Epstein that just mention people's names, where you can say so-and-so is in the Epstein files. But it's just like a press release about a candidate for Congress, and there's not even Epstein's name even mentioned on the document. But you can say that person's in the Epstein files, and you can make a campaign ad during the 2026 midterm, say so-and-so's in the Epstein files. I think they put a lot of that stuff in there. So it's like the hashtag #MeToo thing. If everybody is treated the same way, then nobody can really be prosecuted. So someone who is like, I got sexually assaulted because there's a brutal thing that happened in an alleyway, and it's like it's a credible claim. And then the next person, which Washington Post made a montage of videos like this of people making claims, and it was one after the other. And one of them said she was brutally raped in an alleyway, and the next person said that she was bumped into in a crowded bar on her butt. Those are a little different. One of those should be looked into. The other one is shut up, bitch. Or dude, whoever. Doesn't matter. The point is, they threw a bunch of stuff in there to make it hard to tell what from what. And what's interesting about these names is I can't even pronounce them. And when you look them up, you find nothing other than the 2 guys. I'm going to show you what Grok said about it. Now, I don't like using AI for anything. I think it's terrible. But I wanted to know how to spell and pronounce these names. And ChatGPT wouldn't even tell me, which is weird. But Grok did list the names, and I asked it what it could find about their background. Again, I take Grok with a grain of salt, and corroborating anything it says is a must before believing it is truth. And because these names are in there and have been revealed does not mean that they're guilty of anything. He's saying this under the protection of the speech and debate clause. I'm not about to get walked into a defamation lawsuit by making claims that have not been proven in evidence. This is the start of an inquiry. You find these names, you find out about the people, then you have questions to ask. They could be innocent. They could have information, though. That said, they're the people that you want to talk to if you're Congress, along with the ones I've been mentioning for a long, long time. This is what Grok said about, that's one of the guys, actually. Let me get a look here. Thank you, Deez. I appreciate that. Deez last did a show with me last week. It was fun. Deez, a comedian and a rapper. He makes up, I would say, productive raps, deconstructing propaganda with his lyrics. I'd say it's about 10 steps above Bad Bunny, in my opinion, and also Kid Rock. Both rappers that we got to see. We're going to talk about later at the Super Bowl. Nevertheless, here are the names again. Make that a little bigger so I can see it. All right. Salvatore. It sounds like a cartel leader. Salvatore Nora, Zurab Makizi, Leonie Lava. Edward Bernays wrote in his books, one of the prominent themes he would always start in his books, the propagandist for 50 years, for like 5 different presidents. He lived to be like 100 years old, creepiest guy you've ever met, Freud's nephew. He said, the people pulling the strings are people whose faces you've never seen before. They stay behind. And I'm not saying that's who these people are, but when you can't find information about people and you've never heard of them, and they are, according to Thomas Massey, listed in these files in ways that seem implicating. It's not just going to be some random dude walking off the street who is implicated like that, because Epstein's not going after the barista and saying, hey, want to come to my island, barista, unless he's trying to get that barista to give a massage or get on the dental chair that he had or come into the little pyramid weird house that he has on the island. That's not this. There's no baristas on this list here. Sultan Hamed bin Salami, CEO of DP World, is who that guy is. Those are the 2 people that are known. Nicola Caputo and Lex Wessner. So I did the time that I spent trying to find information about those other 4. I could find a little bit about this guy, which I haven't gone too in depth on that yet. But these 3 right here, it didn't matter the spelling that I tried on their names. I could find nothing about them. And what Grok says, again, taking it with a grain of salt, very little public information exists about Leonid Lenov. Grok didn't even know how to spell it. Searches turn up no prominent public figure, business leader, or known associate of Epstein matching the name. Unlike Wexner, or thank you, we know that. Some online commentators, which take that with a grain of salt also, have noted the obscurity. Well, that's what I'm doing. Also take that with a grain of salt, what I'm doing as well. That's funny. And speculated it could be a private individual, foreign national, or a lesser-known contract mentioned in the files. It's probably somebody who knows a lot of people who intentionally stays out of the spotlight, if I had to guess. My speculation. And then the other name, Les Wexner, we know him. He was listed as a co-conspirator. I've been talking about these co-conspirators in this document has gotten me kicked off the internet, kicked off WSB radio. It's got my website taken down. I'm glad that this kind of stuff is finally coming out. But literally, you see people talking about this stuff now, and I'm like, dude, I've been doing this for 9 years. And they take my site. I've been putting these PDFs up of these documents for 9 years. Not these names, but the redacted version of this stuff, because a lot of this stuff was already public. None of them have been charged with crime. Yeah, we know that. All right. So Sultan Ahmad, it's like 98 degrees in the studio, by the way. It's like really hot in here. That's why I'm sweating. chairman and CEO of DP World, which is one of the world's largest port and logistics companies based in Dubai. Emails in the file show he maintained correspondence with Epstein. And Epstein did try to maintain correspondence with people. He very much aggressively went after people, and he lured people in. Because rich people can be very stupid. They can be arrogant. They let their guard down. And there's look up mice and rascals. Those are acronyms used by the CIA to turn double spies, is what it is, to compromise people, and talks about different ways they can lure people in and an approach. And a lot of it, when you read how they do that, and you can type in like MICE, put it in quotes, and type in CIA in quotes in the PDF. And then do the same thing with rascals, RASCALS. You might even get some of the same documents. And it outlines how the CIA basically compromises people and their personality approach to manipulating them. It's fascinating. When you see it everywhere. You see these people planted in different positions who rise up out of nowhere, and it's like, wow, that's exactly what they're describing there. Maybe some of it's just natural grifting. Maybe some of it's just natural kind of sociopathy, or the incentive structure of social media to profit and build a following. Basically, you have to kind of be that. There's no nuance. You're not building a huge following on any social media by having nuanced conversations and being nice to people. It's just not the way it works. But the way that these CIA compromising techniques turn people is kind of similar to how people grow their audiences and raise a bunch of money online. So this guy maintained correspondence for over a decade, blah, 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 including crude messages about sex and at least one reference to a torture video. Oh, look, if you're going to be in the Epstein files, you don't want it to be in reference to a torture video. You don't be joking about a torture video, even if you're doing it in jest. Don't make torture video jokes with some dude who's like, hey, come to my island. I got some youngsters here. Don't make torture video jokes or torture videos with a guy like that. So Epstein used him for business introductions and back channel deployment. That's what he did for everybody. Look at him. He doesn't even, he looks, this image looks like AI to me. It's probably real. There's going to be so many, Saudi Arabia is going to be here for the World Cup. I want to dress like this. And I want to go interview people on the street from Saudi Arabia. Because all those comedians went over there and they made a bunch of money. I wanted to see if, like, how much money will you, I'm just a street level. Will you give me some money? Because from what I've heard, all you Saudis are wealth. It's a stereotype, obviously. I derail. Nevertheless, here's the torture thing. That's always a good segue back. Here's the torture thing we were just talking about. So for over a decade, including one reference to torture, do you have a specific? Some intentional partners, major Canadian pension fund, have paused dealings with DP. Wow, okay. There he is. DP World's exceptional performance during the economic uncertainty. Well, maybe he had a little heads up about that uncertainty coming. And this is like a quote from this guy, the Sultan. DP World's exceptional performance during economic uncertainty and geopolitical challenges bears testament to the company's resilience and sound growth strategy. Okay. Motivating us to reiterate our commitment. Is that what that says? Again, this is Grok. To the development of innovative new products and services for a dynamic. You could not say less with I mean, they officially said nothing right there. That's like corporate speak up the ass. Okay, Nicola Caputo. That's an Italian politician, Grok says, and a former member of the European Parliament for the Democrat Party. I don't know what the Democrat Party is like over there because it's different for like every country. He later held a senior role in Capigna's regional administration. No further verified public connection to Epstein has been. Well, look, there's a pretty big public connection. This is what I'm talking about. So if you've listened to the show if you watch any of my videos, I've talked about Martin Seligman, the head of the brainwashing industrial complex in the U.S. for like 30, 40 years now. Deep connection to Epstein. Epstein funded his biggest brainwashing endeavor starting in 2003. He got a bunch of government money right after he helped Epstein get that deal by lending his name to the plea negotiation letter. Never once can I find anywhere where this guy's been held accountable or asked about his relationship with Epstein. This guy here, it seems to be similar. So Epstein has some of these people that he's tied to that there's kind of a thin on the paper trail. This is the protein mail stuff, I'm guessing. He said, I better go to the protein mail to email Nicola Caputo about the Sex Island trip that's coming up with the guy in the robot chair. What's the dude's name? Stephen Hawking. Steven's going to be down here banging chicks, Nicola. Don't you want to come see that? I mean, that in and of itself is something to see, is what I'm assuming Epstein probably told him. Salvatore Nerura is a retired New York Police Department detective. Oh, that's interesting. If that's true. His name appears in as a contact in Epstein's infamy. Yeah. Okay. Some reports mention he was once investigated in connection with an illegal escort. Huh. So they gave us these names, but what exactly? I know one of them was a co-conspirator. Zurab Michaelides is the other guy. Virtually no verifiable public profile exists for this guy. He appears in the files, but no biographical information, profession, or prior Epstein connection has surfaced. And I also looked for this guy, and I found nothing. I used to be able to find about anything on Google. Up until the Vegas shooting, I could find anything on Google. They started clamping down the internet, and it all became uniform, and all the searches produced the same thing. You used to be able to just skip to the 10th page because the first 5 or 10 are going to be about the same. And then you could actually start finding stuff. They have search modifiers. If you're good at that, you could kind of weave through things and find things. Those are almost useless now. You can go to the newspaper archives. You can newspaper.com. You can subscribe there, and you can search individual newspaper archives, but you have to subscribe to like each state. So it gets pretty expensive. Pretty soon to find any real information. We're going to be back at the library. I don't even know what those things are called. People are looking for info like in the 80s and 90s because Google's useless at this point. It shows us what it wants us to see. And this dude doesn't want us to see this dude because you can't find shit on him. Leonov. It sounds like a vodka drink to me. Similarly obscure. No prominent public figure matches his name. He's mentioned in the documents, but nothing else publicly known about him. Again, I could find nothing about this. When I search this guy, it keeps trying to change it to something else, and it will describe like a cocktail or an appetizer. Now, unless an appetizer was sexually assaulting children on Epstein Island, I think that Google's getting it wrong. An appetizer was a co-conspirator. It's crazy. I'm sure some people have dug some stuff up at this point, but I mean, that to me is very interesting because that is exactly, I have probably 50 books about propaganda and tactics and strategies that have been written. Most of them are older, some of them over 100 years old, written to these elitists back and forth to each other. They didn't expect people to read them. And one of the consistent things about it is the people pulling the strings, like I said earlier, are going to be obscure. And they're going to keep the information kind of private about themselves. Especially now when if you have enough money, you can pay people to scrub anything that's out there, which results in the type of Google searches I was just talking about. But I've wondered this for quite some time now because we talk about George Soros. We talk about the people at the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab. And it's always been kind of this is a face job of whoever. The person who's showing their face so often, that's not the person who has the real power. And I'm not saying these people do, but this is the first thing for me, because this is something I've researched for years. Like I said, I got kicked off of WSB Radio talking about this stuff. My website's been taken down, putting this stuff on the internet. This is the first thing in years that's actually been somewhat interesting. That hasn't been, that's already out there. Everybody knows that. Just they're exposing it to a new group of people and acting like they're revealing something. This right here, I think I'm impressed with. I don't give politicians a lot of credit, but I will give Massey and Ro Rohana credit for getting this out there, and whoever else did it. I don't care what party they're in. I want to know more about these guys. They might be guilty of nothing. I don't know. Or they might be guilty of something, but they definitely have information. What's up, JC? I'm going to hit these comments in a second. Massey, I believe, stated that the FBI redacted it prior to it going to the DOJ, and they're working on it. Yeah, get all the unredact all of it. Of course, they're not. And there's definitely documents they're not going to release. They're not going to release documents that are damning to the government structure or to the the institutions that control society, damaging to that. Martin Seligman, anybody who's watched me talk about this guy, there's a reason this is the only guy in this plea negotiation letter who has not suffered any consequences, including Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton has a little bit related to other things, but this guy has been untouchable. And that's because he is still currently, they call him Dr. Happy in the military. Ted Kaczynski wrote his manifesto, a third of it, on this guy's learned helplessness work, which he conducted, where he tortured dogs while MK Ultra was going on at UPenn. And then he said people could be conditioned to learn helplessness as well, just like he did to the dogs. And then the CIA went to him after 9/11, and they took his learned helplessness work and they made it the foundation of the CIA black site interrogation and torture program. And then he shows up in these Epstein documents, and he shows up bragging about his friendship with Epstein and these they called them the billionaire dinners, the world dominator dinners. This is what they called them. They had them every year at the edge.org, which is an online scientific magazine. So all these people trying to basically learn how to control the masses through neuroscience and psychology, using thermal imaging to see how the brain heats up in certain places. I mean, these guys are obsessed, but they're so out of touch, though. They're so weird, too. And obviously so horny. Clearly, you want to distract them? Epstein will dangle a little treat in front of them, and then they will be exposed a little bit. Even though Epstein funded their work in 2003. Like 3 of these scientists were Martin Novick, Martin Seligman, Lawrence Cross. These are 3 of the 5 guys mentioned in a plea negotiation letter that helped him get that sweetheart deal. Bill Clinton was another one. Roger Stack was a 5th. I'll get to that in a second. But these dudes, Epstein would pour money into anything he wanted to control. And I found out today that he was trying to pay off all these police departments, which makes perfect sense. And the question about him always becomes, where did his money come from? When you listen to him, he's kind of like an idiot. Like Hitler. So Hitler, a lot of people love Hitler, I know. But Hitler, when you watch Hitler, he's an idiot. When they say, don't read his book. I read his book because I study propaganda. There's a propaganda chapter in his book, and my whole philosophy was, shouldn't you know your enemy's playbook? I mean, shouldn't you like they're saying don't read the playbook of the enemy is kind of a stupid thing. But when you read his actual book, he's not smart. If he wrote that, he's stupid. Whoever wrote that book is stupid. And you watch the videos of him, he's a drug-addicted maniac. This is not someone who's in control. This is someone who is controlled. And Jeffrey Epstein comes off the same way. A face job who somebody gave some money to. I don't know why. If you ever listen to him talk, he talks like this, and he's just, I got an egg-shaped penis. Everybody wants to know about the egg-shaped penis, which pisses me off because I've been telling people about the egg-shaped D for like 8 years now because it came up in a deposition, and he got really pissed off about it because he got it from a penis pump. That's a little factoid that we haven't seen come out in the Epstein files yet. He penis pumped that bitch into an egg. Nevertheless, moving on. Lex Wexner. All right. So there's more Epstein stuff today, too. That was the most interesting. But Maxwell testified at a House on, what was it? It was a House Oversight Committee. Take this shit down. We will do further research on that. Make this a little bit bigger here. So Maxwell testifies. Not really. She pled the fifth to all the questions, which Epstein always did in all the videos. It was funny when all these videos of Epstein would come out, you would see competing news stories. One would say, Epstein's asked if you ever hung out with Donald Trump and underage girls, and he pled the fifth. Trump's guilty. And then the other side would be, Epstein asked if you ever hung out with Clinton and underage kids, and he pled the fifth. He's guilty. He pled the fifth to like 200 questions over a period of 5 hours. Every question he was asked, he pled the fifth to. And so the media just took one question on each side and framed it as, look at how guilty they are because he must be hiding some. Now, that was the strategy for the lawyers. That's exactly what Maxwell did at the congressional testimony for the House Oversight Committee yesterday. And then after, so it's like she just spent a couple of hours away from whatever she would have been doing in prison to just go sit and plead. Like she would have been training dogs in prison, you know, making prison wine, scissoring, probably a lot of scissoring that she would have been doing. Instead, she decided to go sit to plead the fifth during congressional testimony. And after providing no answers, her lawyer did what lawyers do nowadays. Her lawyer went to social media to speak for her, and he said that Maxwell Ghislaine is prepared to speak fully and honestly if granted clemency by President Trump. He then added that both President Trump and former President Bill Clinton are innocent of any wrongdoing, but that Maxwell alone, she alone can explain why they're innocent, and the public is entitled to that explanation. Is that a good idea? Like, do you how's that going to work? Trump's going, I've been exonerated. Ghislaine Maxwell. She exonerated me completely. Yeah, Bill Clinton, because you know Trump's kind of like, I can't speak for Bill, so it's a little. Yeah, I'll exonerate you, which nobody's gonna take her testimony, but also gonna throw in Bill, exonerate him. So if you think the other's guilty, you just got to take what you can get. It's crazy to me to offer that. You know, this sex trafficker said I didn't do it, and we all trust her. I think just go ahead and give her clemency, and then what you do is you just watch and see who she hangs out with. After Epstein got out, all these rich creeps flocked to him again. You can use her as like a little trap. So you just pretend to give her clemency. Oh, she's free. Let her go out there, and then you see all the Lex Westners and all the other faggots that go out there, and they chase, and then you'd be like, you investigate. At least you question them. You can't arrest them until they've done something that you have exceeds probable cause standard. I'm a weird conspiracy theorist like that. I think about it in ways where a legal standard, because we get too out of control with it, they're going to censor us completely. So we have to be more measured and smarter than the people who want to shut us up are. So, Epstein Files Part 3. So this is great. You guys saw Bill Clinton Bill Clinton was like, oh, we need to get this out in public. We need to testify and whatever he said. Because they wanted to have Hillary and Bill come and testify before Congress. And I think they should take them up on that. I don't think that they will. And if they do, they won't ask them the right questions. So what I want to do is I want to tell them exactly what to ask Bill Clinton. Again, I'm not saying Trump's not guilty of anything. I'm focused on what I can prove and what is evidence in court already, which is a plea negotiation letter, which is a letter that was sent from Epstein's lawyer, Alan Dershowitz, to the district attorney of the Southern District of Florida at the time. What was his name? Alex Costa. And that letter, shortly after that, the plea deal was agreed to and then made. They gave him that original sweetheart deal back in 2008, I believe. There were 5 specifically named individuals, and this is how I would start it. This is what you bring him in, and this is how you question Bill Clinton. If anybody in Congress is watching, and I know you're not, I know you won't do this, but this is what you should do, is you say, Mr. President, let me find I typed some of this up, make sure I can get it right. Mr. President, shortly before an agreement was made to get Epstein that sweetheart deal back in 2008, which everybody agrees is one of the most, just criminal deals that's ever been made. In fact, I dare you to find anybody or any news outlet who won't say that. Shortly before that happened, there was a letter sent from Jeffrey's lawyers to the district attorneys, prosecutors. And in that letter, there were 5 and only 5 people specifically named as character references for the purpose of helping negotiate that deal, which they successfully negotiated, which they helped him get that deal, which is viewed widely as criminal, that no one else would have gotten. Are you aware, Mr. President, that your name is one of the 5 that are used as a reference to say, hey, give my boy a deal? Because that's true. That you can play bias all you want. I'm not playing bias. I started investigating this 10 years ago because I'm like, all right, is it pedophile versus pedophile was my first thought. I don't give a shit about the outcome. I give a shit about the process of evidence and investigation. I don't care. I'm not connected to the outcome. That's what you ask. Are you aware of this letter? And that your name was used in it along with 4 other powerful, prominent scientists who I mentioned earlier. If you're not aware of it, if he says no, that'd be interesting. Then you're going to have to do you have to call in Alan Dershowitz, and you have to call in Alex Costa, the prosecutor who, in the Southern District of Florida at the time, that Trump eventually put in his cabinet when he became president the first time. First, you start with Alan, and you say, Alan, is it typical when you're negotiating a plea deal for anyone, especially a sex criminal, to include as leverage and a reference a former president of the United States as, hey, give my guy a deal. He's buddies with this guy. He works with this guy. He started this guy's global initiative. Is that something? Do you typically do that without asking? You say, yeah, put the president in there. And if he says, yeah, sure, we put him in there. And then if he says yes, which obviously would be bullshit, then you go to Acosta and you say, Acosta, if you're told, let this guy off, give him a deal because of his relationship with the president, the former president, do you just say, oh, okay, yeah, we'll give him a deal? We didn't know. We didn't know they were boys. We had no idea they were buddies. We'll sign up. Or do you call up the guy? Do you call up the reference, like the job reference? Which obviously that's a ridiculous notion to think that Bill Clinton would be unaware that his name was in this document that helped make that sweetheart deal that everybody's appalled about happen. Nobody's ever asked him about this. Say what you will about Trump, and Trump's got a lot of problems. But he's not one of the 5 names that helped Epstein get that deal. 2 who've never been even, actually, none of them have been asked about this specifically. And this is the shit that gets me taken down all the time. All the fucking time, this shit gets my stuff taken down. Then if he says, yes, I was aware that my name was used. Mr. President, did you find out before or after? If he says he found out after, were you happy or were you mad about it? He says, well, I was angry about it. Did you make your anger known? Did you go to the prosecutor and say, I don't agree with this deal. I stand with the victims. I am appalled that my name was used in this way. I'm against, or which we know didn't happen. Or did you say, no, I don't care. I don't give a shit. And then you can pursue that thread of investigation. The likely explanation is that he says, yes, no, I knew about it. And then the follow-up question is, okay, why did you lend your name to help someone who was facing potentially life in prison for sex crimes with underage girls? Why did you lend your name to help this guy get this sweetheart deal? That's the question you ask that nobody's going to ask. That's how you question Bill Clinton. Do that, Congress. I know you won't, because you're faggots. I mean that in the nicest way possible. All right. Moving on. Check out the comments here. Thank you, Dees. I think I saw that already. The 5 names. All right, so the 5 names, that's it. Thank you. That actually gets me right. It's a good segue. Bill Clinton, Martin Seligman, the head of the brainwashing industrial complex, still to this day. Dr. Happy violated the Nuremberg Code with his experiments on soldiers after he got a $31 million contract immediately after he helped Epstein get that deal by lending his name to the document. Like, immediately, he gets a $31 million no-bid contract to brainwash soldiers into continuing to fight wars or rejoining. And they would give him virtue scores. They'd give him morality scores with this test. It's total brainwashing. That's not me saying that. That's other people in the industry, in the psychological industry, describing him that way. This is the dude, Martin Seligman, who I referenced this earlier. Ted Kaczynski wrote his manual. Part of his manual was inspired on. He wrote these letters talking about Martin Seligman, how the public are the dogs. So what he did is he tortured dogs back in the 60s to create the learned helplessness theory. And he tortured them to the point of where he could open the cage. The dogs would not leave, even though they knew they'd be tortured again, because they had learned that their actions, they had no control over the outcome, so they gave up. They learned helplessness. And he posited at the time that this could be applied to humans to make them similarly helpless. And that's why the CIA went to him to make it the framework of the torture program. And he spun that philosophy into a Orwellian-sounding name of positive psychology, which Epstein funded the creation of in 2003 at the University of Pennsylvania Center, which he still is the head of today. And there's some emails of people saying, do you know Martin Seligman? I'm going to his positive psychology center in the documents. Seligman, Epstein tries to email. It seems like he's trying to distance himself from, but nobody's asked him about that. That's the guy you bring in to ask questions, because before Epstein, like early on, he was bragging about his relationship at the billionaire dinner. He's bragging about being a rock star psychologist. I mean, this guy comes off as a total prick. And he's currently doing a world happiness experiment based on collecting data across social media. This is DOJ funded still right now, where you create profiles of individuals, social credit score like profiles, based on their online behavior, and assigning similar scores that he did with the military and still does with the military: virtue, morality. And the more, so psychological resilience is the term that he used. The more psychologically resilient you are, that in his language is conformity. He describes people who are a problem as having low psychological resilience, and legislation needs to be created to solve the problem of these people. And they're making an AI right now because he's 82 years old. They're doing an AI experiment. They're like copying his brain so that it will survive when he's gone, and they can continue to enjoy his wisdom afterwards. And this mother effer has never once, that I can find anywhere, been asked about his name being included in a plea negotiation letter to help Epstein get that sweetheart deal. And Epstein in that letter, through Dershowitz, claiming that Epstein founded with his money the Positive Psychology Center that is currently doing this DOJ-funded, DOJ, I'm retarded. DOJ-funded work of world happiness, social credit score. It's crazy. Oh, and by the way, this doctor from Sydney, Australia, who was being investigated for doing Martin Seligman's dog torture experiments, but on children. This is like 10 years ago. Then goes to, I can't remember what country it was. It'll come to me in a minute. But he goes to visit his daughter, one of his daughters, in this country. God, I wish I knew the country. It slipped my mind. And he dies there mysteriously. There's a story about how this guy dies mysteriously over there. And he was being investigated for torturing kids using learned helplessness type of study. And his name was Anthony Kidman. And Anthony Kidman wrote the foreword to Martin Seligman, who's in these Epstein files, as I've been saying. He wrote the foreword to one of his books about learned helplessness. Anthony Kidman, Nicole Kidman's father. That's all true. You can look all that up. It's true. That's why this mother effer, I think, isn't questioned about this stuff. Because if he was, he's such an integral part to the military-industrial complex. He's the brainwashing industrial complex chief. And he's gotten so much money. Anybody comes offering a bunch of money for come meet all these girls and get a bunch of money, run. Because these people, they set out to compromise these people. It's great. What's up? What's up, guys, in the chats? He was working with let me see what it says. Mark Dutroux. Yeah. All these people are so creepy. And look, I get it. You get a bunch of money, you get a bunch of power. You're gonna have a bunch of people targeting you. You're gonna have a bunch of people trying to vulture or vampire, suck all your energy out. But like, I'm not saying he's guilty of something with Epstein. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if I were doing an investigation to try and find out more, I would certainly start with the people who lent their names to a document that helped him get the sweetheart deal that everybody got so pissed and is still pissed off about. Because a lot of stuff is speculation. And it's just 3 million files that allows anybody in the left and right to go find anything they want. And because there's also a lot of stuff in there, as I said, that is not verified or there's not evidence of. But people just believe it's true if it satisfies their confirmation bias. I'm saying start with what you can prove and the names of the people who are in the document that is literally in court records. Because that way you start from you start from a point of view of people who clearly had a stake in him getting out of prison. All the other guys and the other three, which you asked who the other four were: Martin Seligman, Bill Clinton, Martin Novick, the Harvard guy, who Martin Novick, his life's work, which was funded by Epstein since the 90s, was called The Evolution of Cooperation. I mentioned earlier the thermal imaging, trying to get it down to a linguistic and emotional, where you can just say specific words, almost like an NLP type thing. And you could trigger certain emotions and feelings in people. They did all these. So you can watch some of his videos on the Edge site. I'll put some of the links in the show notes, where Epstein's like laughing along and they're talking about, they call people defectors. They do this, what is it called? It's prisoner's dilemma simulations. But it's like it's a weird they call it an advanced prisoner dilemma. And they call defectors people who don't cooperate the way they want them to defectors. and cooperators. They speak fondly of those. And then this Martin Novick guy from Harvard, who, by the way, Harvard, they took away his PED Center, Program for Evolutionary Dynamics, which was funded by Epstein. And he used to sneak Epstein around to this building, which Epstein was still paying for while he was in prison. And nobody at Harvard knew it until it was later discovered. They fired this guy, Novick, for a year. And they said, we'll bring you back. And he's back teaching at Harvard. The dude is back teaching at Harvard. He would bring Epstein around all these co-eds. And Epstein, this is according to a document on Harvard's website, Epstein would just be making out. He'd show up just like with like 19-year-old girls. That's what the document said. Making out. And Novak was like his secretary, basically. And this dude shows up in the document, and he seems like a drunk and a drug addict because he's apologizing. I'm sorry. I hope I didn't ruin everybody's time. Dude is a professor at Harvard. And he operates the whim of Jeffrey Epstein. He did. Because his career was totally built by Epstein. And in 2021, when they were looking for incentives to get people to shut the F up and take the jab, guess who they rolled out to provide incentives for countries around the world? Martin Novick, funded by Jeffrey Epstein, Evolution of Cooperation. Anybody who didn't was a defector. It's crazy. This is the shit people don't tell you. This is why I get kicked off of shit right here. Let me see here. All right. I was going to do like a 20-minute show here. Look at me. I've already derailed into 52 minutes. My God. I can't believe it's been that long. All right. We're going to get through the rest of this. Peter Thiel. Yeah, no, Peter Thiel's... Peter Thiel is a Christian, okay? He's... Sam Tripoli last night, he was like, now, Peter Thiel, he doesn't sweat. He's like Prince Andrew. He's not sweating. Peter Thiel's a kind of a creepy guy. I didn't know until recently, till Austin Picard told me that, because I hadn't read J.D. Vance's book. The J.D. Vance in his book was something like, yeah, no, I kind of came to terms with just, I thought I was gay. And then Peter Thiel talked me out of it. I'm like, wait, what? Wait, he says he thought he was gay, and then Peter Thiel talked him out of it? No, well, we tried it. No, you're not gay. What, he didn't pass the test? It's a little weird. I promise I'm not gay. Peter Thiel says so. Yeah, so if Congress needs help in questioning Bill Clinton, which I doubt that'll actually happen, but they definitely won't ask him that, but they should. All right, Epstein Part 4. So this is interesting. There was a story today. It's interesting the way that both sides took it. The story was about Trump calling the Palm Beach Police Department in 2006. And here's kind of some competing headlines. A former Florida police chief said he received a call from Donald Trump in 2006 in which the now president told him that everyone knows about the disgraced financier's behavior, according to an FBI document released in the latest batch of Epstein files. So notice the framing and the conclusion that kind of comes from that's a left-leaning outlet, a little bit of a negative. He knew about it all along is kind of the takeaway. But then you counter it with the right-leaning angle of it from Fox News, which says this. President Donald Trump called the Palm Beach Police Department to thank them for stopping Jeffrey Epstein in early 2000, and he warned that Maxwell is evil. So he's a hero in that one. He's confirmed the villain in the one, confirmed the hero in the other. The same set of information spun into two different worlds where both feel certain about the conclusion they've drawn because confirmation bias is a powerful drug. Let's read the document for ourselves and draw our own conclusion. Let me put that on screen. This document that they talked about where this happened was far more interesting than just that. And I can't. I'm a little surprised they didn't mention any of the other stuff. This is a interview with the former police chief in Palm Beach while Epstein was being investigated. He was a police chief from 2001 to 2009. This interview was conducted by the FBI in 2019. And reading through this, the Trump stuff I had never seen before about him calling them. Everything else I had read in documents going as far back as 2016. When I first started researching this, I contacted the lawyer for some of the victims, Bradley Edwards, and he directed me to just basically thousands of pages of case files on Pacer, which dated back to a little bit after this time. And all of this stuff that they're talking about outside of the Trump stuff, I had seen before. So some of the argument is that maybe that this is just, it happened in 2019 because it was Trump. I don't know about the Trump stuff. I haven't seen that before, but all of the other stuff I've seen before. So I don't know if that means it's true, but the claim has been made for years before this. And I can't, hold on, let me get this where I can see it a little better. All right. So, by the way, I do have the Edmund cam. I forgot to show you guys. I've been working my double cam here. It's been heavy. It's been a heavy show. So, let me get a little Edmund cam. Let's take that down for a second. Let's get a little Edmund cam in there. It's double. The lighting's not good over there, but there he is. He's resting. He's had a long day. He's currently in first in America's Top Pet contest, thanks to my sister helping out with putting some votes in there. Let's hope he wins. Let's hope he wins. Now let's get back to the heavy stuff. All right. Get rid of that shit. Yeah, get rid of that. Okay. So the police chief, his name is Michael Rieter. He is not, his name is redacted here, but he confirmed to the Miami Herald that he was interviewed in 2019 by the FBI. And here's the Trump relevant part of the document. Start talking about him on page 3 down here. Can you guys see that? It's kind of hard to see. Where is it? Trump. It's page 3, I think. Maybe not. Okay, here it is. I'll make it a little bigger. Maybe that'll help. All right. It says, where is it? I swear this is on page. Maybe I got a little ahead of myself there. Sorry, I thought I had this. Okay, here it is. Palm Beach Country Club is a Jewish country club. Okay. A lot of wealthy people are there, and they flock together. Mar-a-Lago is a mixture of everyone. Donald Trump told Redacted that he threw Epstein out of his club. Trump called the Palm Beach Police Department to tell him, talking about the police chief is who it is. So what's his name again? So I can just use his name. Michael. I think it's Michael. Okay, yeah, it's Michael. Trump told Michael that he threw Epstein out of his club. Trump called the Palm Beach Police Department to tell him, "Thank goodness you are stopping him. Everyone's known about him doing this." Trump told him people in New York, knew Epstein was disgusting. He said Maxwell was Epstein's operative and she's evil and to focus on her. Trump told the detective or the police chief that he was around Epstein one time when teenagers were present and that Trump, quote, got the hell out of there. So that's what Trump picked up the phone to call this guy and said, Trump was one of the very first people to call when people found out that they were investigating Epstein. No one could explain how Epstein made his money, and that's all they said about Trump. So again, I'll read that a little more fluidly because it was a little rocky there. The Palm Beach Country Club is a Jewish country club. A lot of wealthy people are there, and they flock together. Mar-a-Lago is a mixture of everyone. Donald Trump told the police chief that he threw Epstein out of his club. This is in 2006 in July when he sent this. Trump called the Palm Beach Police Department to tell him, thank goodness you're stopping him. Everyone has known he's been doing this. And so that's what the left-leaning media focuses on, and the right-leaning media focuses on the other frame. Trump told him that people in New York knew Epstein was disgusting. He said that Maxwell was Epstein's operative, that she is evil, and to focus on her. And Trump told the detective that he was around Epstein once when teenagers were present, and that Trump got the hell out of there. Trump was one of the very first people to call when people found out they were investigating Epstein. So I have not seen that information before. I was told personally in email, and I know he's come out and he's since he's raised questions about why Trump was not releasing files in the beginning. As Bradley Edwards, I contacted him, and he told me, I'm just telling you what he told me. He said Trump didn't have anything to do with Epstein's operation at the time. This was probably late 2016. And he said that just like this, he said that when his case arose, because Epstein sued this Bradley Edwards and his clients for I think it was defamation, which Edwards won this case. He said that Trump was all the people he was going to depose, the wealthy people found a way to escape being deposed, including Ghislaine Maxwell, which this is public information now. At least it's mainstream media. I've been talking about this for 9 years. She told him she couldn't be deposed because she was going back to the UK to take care of her sick mother, and that she would never be coming back to America. 2 months later, she's photographed at Chelsea Clinton's wedding. And he said that Trump called him up, and he addressed his questions, and he helped him. You do kind of see a theme, though, in these documents of people, when those around them maybe are suspected of something, they kind of taking the bull by the horns and going right at it because they're gonna be questioned anyway. I don't know what that means. I don't know. I just know what he told me. He has since said, why is Trump not releasing documents? There's so much that we're not told, and we're never going to be told. I don't know who's innocent, who's guilty in all of this. I just know that the right questions aren't asked in congressional settings. Trump should sit down for a congressional. I'd love to see Bill Clinton and Trump on the opposite sides of it. You do make it like a game. Might as well make it a game. Why not? Everything's blood sport. Let's do a little dueling presidents. The winner gets Maxwell's. Maxwell will clear the winner. Only one of them gets to be cleared. I choose wait until next time on America's exonerated president. All right. Oh, so here's the other stuff in this document that's like crazy. Look at the top of this document. This document starts off, they didn't talk about this shit. Redacted, blah, blah, blah. Interviewed, redacted. President for this interview was Detective Redacted and Special Agent Redacted. I'm Detective Redacted. This is Special Agent Redacted. Nobody knows we exist. Prior to the beginning of the interview, Redacted was served with a subpoena requesting his participation in the interview and that he turn over materials in his possession pertaining to this investigation. Redacted, which is the police chief, then turned over Agents 2 boxes containing case-related materials that Redacted states he recovered from deceased case detective Redacted, his home. He got materials from a dead detective who was investigating the case, and part of those materials is the information that he was relaying to them. I remember that from the 2016 documents I went through. I'm going to go and find it because that's what stuck out to me is the pressure that all these detectives and these private investigators were putting on the prosecutors and that people who were witnesses, because they had this case built against Epstein where he was facing potentially life in prison. Then all of a sudden the witnesses started dropping off and disappearing. And one of the detectives, as mentioned here, died. How he died, I think he might have killed himself. That might be the story. I'm not sure. I need to go back and find that for sure. I tried to find it before the show, but I couldn't. But I remember this specifically. The guy investigating the case suddenly died in the middle of it, which is one of the reasons that the prosecutors had to be like, oh, our case is falling apart. The witnesses are gone. The main investigator just died. And it was this pressure being put on the Southern District of Florida investigators. And then you go down further in this document. Where is this shit? Yeah, I remember this. So the private investigators. Okay, so let's start with this paragraph. The Palm Beach Police Department tried to keep this case very tight. They would type up their reports and put them, this is the police chief at the time doing the FBI interview in 2019, and put them on a hard drive, which they would put in a safe. They would not input these reports into the computer. They had sexual battery cases against the co-conspirators, which we just found out Lex Wessner was one of them. When the Palm Beach Police Department presented it, they wouldn't approve it. The state's attorney said that the victims were not credible and would show their MySpace pages and such. They're not credible. Look at their MySpace. Look at their top 10. Who's putting these people on their top 10? They're not credible. They would refute minute details in the probable cause affidavit. Redacted thought it was leaked by the attorney's office. Redacted thought the defense attorneys thought they weren't doing enough to talk them out of it. I think this is the detective who died. I think this redacted. The case died at the state level. Redacted then wrote a letter to the state attorney asking him to recuse himself. So it's not, excuse me, I was wrong about that because he died during the investigation, not after. After this is what is interesting. Private investigators began harassing and playing games with Redacted. Oh, no, this is the guy who died. Epstein had Redacted go to Redacted and tell him that these girls are just prostitutes. They're just happy endings. They're just minor cases. Private investigators began pulling the police officers' trash. So they started going through their trash to try and find things they could use against them. It's like, what's it called? Gang stalking, almost. After 6 months, Redacted retired. He was contacted by a private investigator who was represented by attorney Redacted. That's probably Dershowitz, if I had to guess. He told Redacted that he had some safety concerns for him. These are threats. Redacted was told that Igor, Epstein's trainer, Epstein had a trainer named Igor. Give me a break. Recently purchased a townhouse. Redacted received a call about a target letter that he had received. This individual told Redacted that he doesn't have to worry because Epstein is not in Palm Beach anymore, that he sold his home. Redacted stated this was not true. So it doesn't go much more into that, but those old documents do. And that's what I remember the most about investigating it is the more that case got put together, the more it fell apart and the more intimidation was involved on Epstein's side of it. It's crazy. I just don't get it. Epstein's such a douche. Did you watch the Bannon interview with him? Did you hear him talk? I mean, the guy's such a douche. It's just crazy to me. Like, I would laugh at that. That guy, I don't trust. I mean, so, like, I trust people that I not trust people. I can hang out with somebody, but, you know, if they start asking me to do some stuff, I'll be like, all right, dude. No, we're not. I don't trust you like that. It's just crazy to me that so many people with so much wealth can be so stupid and allow themselves to be. Maybe they're just sick. Some of them. I want to do a Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, like parody, where he's all fired up. I'm going to go to Washington. We're going to change things. He gets to Washington. The first night there, they're like, yeah, we're, you know, all the Lindsey Grahams and everybody's around him. Yeah, come out. We're excited about the change you're going to bring. And then, you know, cut to the next morning. because his drink got drugged. He wakes up. There's all these compromising photos of him. And then he goes to Congress. It's supposed to be his big speech. And he's like, Israel. He just pledges allegiance to Israel or whatever the most stereotypical thing to do is. Thank you, Steve. It was fun. I love that show. Pam Bondi. Yeah, Pam Bondi was in Florida. That's right. I forgot about that. All right. God, this was going to be a 30-minute show, dude. I always do that. I'm like, it'll be a 30-minute show and 3 hours later. But we're going to get through this. Okay, so this is an interesting story. Remember when people would talk a lot about how Epstein would bring people in, there's hidden cameras, which obviously nowadays it's all you gotta do is wear you gotta set a pair of Meta sunglasses around now. But Epstein, according to this story, directed an aide to obtain hidden video cameras, and this is the quote from the documents. "I'm installing them in Kleenex boxes now," the aide replied to a 2014 email. Kleenex boxes. There's something to check on your next Airbnb. Check the Kleenex boxes. And imagine finding that out later. Like, what if imagine finding out you like stayed at one of Epstein places and you're like, oh, we checked everywhere. You maybe you know, but like, you see it on TV. That looks like that weird temple we stayed at on St. James Island. That is that weird temple we stayed at. Kleenex boxes. Oh my God. I stuck my penis in those Kleenex boxes, which is like the least bad thing you can do on St. James Island is assault the Kleenex box. Unfortunately, there's where the camera is. I mean, just that detail of it, Kleenex boxes. And this was like 2014. Dude, everything is a camera. It's crazy. I love this. I love this one here. This is great. This is Prince Andrew's ex-girlfriend, journalist. I didn't realize this. I didn't realize you're not a cool kid unless you're in the Epstein files. Look at this. I mean, she's there you go.
He knew everybody that was very powerful. So like if you were on the scene and you were powerful, like to be honest, like if you're not in those files, it would be an insult because it just means that you were a bit of a loser.
Right. So the people who aren't in the files are losers.
Yes.
Okay. Are you in the files?
Well, of course I am, because it's any journalist that wrote about it.
Of course. I'm in the file. Oh, you're not in the Epstein files, you fucking loser. You can't sit at our table. You're not in the Epstein files, you loser. What a frame there. Are you in the Epstein files? Fuck it, you're fucking A right, I am, dude. I'm fucking bad MFer. I'm cool. That's the way to frame it. So I'm imagining one of those PSAs where just it cuts a montage where it's like, I'm Bill Clinton, I'm Bill Gates, I'm Donald Trump, I'm whoever. And then it's like 10 people that at the end of it, it's like, and where are the Epstein files? Simultaneously. Like one of those political PSAs. And then it goes on to explain why they're in the Epstein files, but it's all good reasons. They're explaining to you how they're privileged to be in it, how it's good that they're in it. Because the losers aren't in. You're not coming to my house until you prove you're in the Epstein files. What a crazy thing to say. He's such a douchebag. He's such a douchebag. Like, I just don't get it, dude. You meet some people and your instinct is like, this is a creep. I I've met people like that. They kind of latch on at theaters and they'll follow you around. And I've told friends of mine. I remember years ago, an ex-girlfriend. We did a short film with this guy, and he just started showing up to shows, to improv shows. And I told my friends afterwards, I was like, "Look, dude's a little weird. I wouldn't be alone in a room with him. He's a little. There's something wrong with him. I think. Just, don't take a drink from him." Fast forward. We were broken up at this time. It was a few years later, but she sent me a link. And this person had become a politician in a county in Georgia. And he had gotten arrested for having like a 3-year relationship with a 13-year-old. And he'd gone to jail for being a pedophile. And we were both like, we told you, we effing told you. Now, some of them are probably a little better at hiding it, maybe. But some of them, it's like Jimmy Savile. I mean, Jimmy, how can you not see that? How can you not see, like, pedophile? It's just the guy looks like he smells like trash. It's just crazy. Maybe it's different over there. But people have this pursuit of, they want this pursuit of power or fame and attention that they just overlook these signals of creepiness, which is probably what happened to Harvey Weinstein. That's another one. It's just like some of these dudes. I mean, it's a testament they were able to get to where they were, being so creepy, so obviously creepy. People turn their sensors off, man. I mean, these are people that if we were hunters and gatherers, they'd be getting bit by snakes and mauled by tigers left and right because they'd be like, the tiger can make me popular and put me in its movies. And the tiger's like raping you, or the dolphin. Dolphins are rapists. Why are we taking people to SeaWorld? Dolphins are rapists. That's a subject for another time, okay? Dolphins are rapists. Stop taking your families to SeaWorld. Get rid of that. What's up, Force Mommy? Good to see you. We got some of them. We got like 6 of them. I never heard of 4 of them. All right. I got to get this. I got to get the Super Bowl stuff out of the way, so I don't talk about it. We're gonna keep rolling with it. The Super Bowl was boring to me. I was not very interested in it. Some of you guys, maybe you were, but I wasn't. The game was boring. Both the competing halftime shows I thought were. I couldn't. They were bad, and for me. I think the regular one was a little less bad personally. And I think some people probably like that one more. I think people pretended to like the other one. And the commercials, I haven't really watched them. I will say this, though. Every time I couldn't watch the TPUSA halftime show because every time I switched over to it, Kid Rock's jean shorts got shorter and his legs got skinnier every time. The last time I switched over, he's singing Ba with the Ba. He's got chicken legs and a jean thong. It was like, I can't take this. And both of them were kind of censoring out the vulgarity, which for Ba, like half of the songs on there, it was like they were making a point to censor it. So they're just blanking out half their songs because we're going to be. I mean, the song's about strippers and fucking and drugs, and it's like, but as long as we don't say it. And the same thing for Bad Bunny. I didn't realize what his songs were about because it was all in Spanish. That was why I didn't necessarily enjoy it. People who speak the language maybe enjoyed it. I tried to put the subtitles on. Subtitles were also in Spanish. What's up with that? English subtitles also in Spanish, and then up on the screen you could see it in the stadium. Also, why are they showing Spanish subtitles on a big screen in the stadium? Is that like a teleprompter? Well, I mean, what is that? Most of the people there couldn't understand the language. It's not that they couldn't hear it. It's that they didn't know the language. And that's not all of them. The set was kind of cool. It was just so try hard and It's just so exhausting. We got to like this one because it's our side, and we got to hate this one and vice versa. It's just so exhausting and tired. The set was kind of cool. Again, Pedro Pascal following women around and trying to get selfies with them. That I spotted that in the middle of the freaking first song, by the way. Some people didn't see that till later. I was like, there's that guy. He's having anxiety. Pedro Pascal's having anxiety. He's groping every titty that's walking through that little house. Now, the titty's going by ungroped because his anxiety needs to be relieved. By the way, if you haven't heard the story about Pedro Pascal while filming Gladiator 2, real quick, the director had to continue cutting, ended up cutting some of the scenes out because Pedro Pascal and one of the characters that his character was like fighting with, and they're supposed to like kill each other, they kept improvising makeout scenes. Look it up. There's no gay scene between these two characters. Pedro Pascal and this other dude kept just making, cut, you guys are fighting to the death, not making out, you guys aren't about to, action, cut. Stop making out, Pedro. Pedro, fuck. That's like a real story. I just thought maybe they would fuck and then kill each other. In the Coliseum. You know, the thumbs up the ass. Maybe it's a new twist on it. Give me a break. Who does that? He's like, hey, are you feeling it? Maybe we should suck face this time. I know we're fighting to the death and we hate each other, but I don't shove my tongue down your fucking mouth. I'm gonna suck your dick. But cut, Pedro. Stop sucking his. You're not gonna kill him by sucking his dick off. Okay? You're supposed to stab him, not suck his dick off. Action. God damn it, Pedro. Get your face out of his ass. We've been here for 3 months longer than we were supposed to. We've wasted $15 million. Because you can't stop eating every hole of this guy who's supposed to be killed by you. Stop groping my wife. Oh, your anxiety. What is this? I wonder if Lauren Boebert was at the TPUSA. We know Lauren Boebert has no problem publicly choking some chicken. So with that, Kid Rock would probably be great. I like the streaker. Well, I'll talk about him later. All right, I'm going to get out of here. I got one more thing. Let me get some of these comments real quick. Something like really, it's kind of creepy, but also funny happened last night. After making out during the fight scene, he screams, I'm going to knock you and suck you off. Says Ryan. Yeah, that's pretty. That's not in the script. Because part of the story when the movie came out was the director didn't have the balls to put the improvised gay stuff in there. Well, it's not really in the story. You know? They didn't suck Caesar off before they stabbed him in the back. Okay? That's not how that happened. Or maybe, that's not how the story goes anyway. Judas wasn't like, let me wank you off first. That's not typically. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Those guys are so great. Yeah, they do a great show. Let's see here. All right. So we got that. Peter Thiel, Martin Novick, those project ties that bind down. Yeah, no, it's crazy. It is crazy. I try to challenge conspiracy theories that I have like harder than the opposition or people who want to call me crazy will. That's why I do like I try to make a better argument against my own initial belief than they could make, because that way it'll reveal if maybe you're leaping to conclusions, or maybe there's not an evidentiary chain there. And either you're going to get to a deeper level of truth, or you're going to come up with a solid argument that people who want to tear it down can't compete against. And that's why, like, as alternative media conspiracy theorists, I think that's the best way to do it. Unfortunately, they try and taint us with all this other shit, but like some of this stuff is pretty, they're just so arrogant and full of shit. And it just baffles me. Not Epstein, Bill Gates. I don't know if it's verified true, the claim where he had like an STD or something and he's trying to drug his wife's drink. They haven't denied it from what I've seen. I just want to see that scene. I want to see, that's like a little comedy sketch. You know, Bill Gates and Melinda, they're at the house and she's like cooking dinner. And he's like, oh, let me get your drink. And she keeps grabbing the drink right before he puts the syphilis medicine in or whatever. He keeps dropping it or he gets it in there and she goes up to drink it and the dog jumps up and knocks the glass out of her hand. It breaks all over the ground. He's like, oh, I gotta do it again. And he just reaches this point where it's like, what do I just give her syphilis? Is Bill Gates asking? Because this is a comedy of errors. Or, you know, wait till she's sleeping. And then she divorced him. These nerds, when you give these nerds power and money, some of these nerds are disgusting. TPUS AIDS. It's funny. It was a terrible game. It was so boring. Did you see that Bill Belichick and his girlfriend, which that's, speaking of creepy, she had on a shirt referencing Robert Kraft's hand job. I don't know what these two old guys. He's like, let me get my girlfriend, who's probably banging half of UNC's team. Wait, is that what you're gonna do? You're gonna go coach North Carolina, and you're gonna have your 24-year-old like just totally cucking you out. You're gonna parade her around a bunch of 18 to, at this point, there's like 27-year-olds playing college football, just horny, testosterone-filled guys, and you got her just walking around, short shorts. Is that's what Bill Belichick is doing? I don't know why there hasn't been student sections who haven't organized during the football games and just harass the shit out of that little situation. That's what I would do. They'd throw you out for heckling now, though. It's not like heckling in my day. Einstein relative theory was just him fucking yeah. His some people say that his first cousin's wife was the brains of the operation. I don't know. Yeah, I think Nikola Tesla's the only one. It's the only one that I trust a little bit. Until he died and the FBI took all his files, and who they give them to? Trump's uncle. Who, when you look back at newspaper archives, they actually credit Trump's uncle with curing cancer a couple of times in the 50s. And it's all from Nikola Tesla's work. Of course, I guess maybe he did, maybe he didn't. It's kind of crazy. And Trump's actually mentioned that a couple of times. Maybe women like to sit on Stephen Hawking while he shit. Yeah, maybe he's like a human vibrator. Stephen Hawking. That's how, if you're gonna get the girls. It's like you gotta brand yourself appropriately, and that would be the best brand for him. So last night we're doing the show with whatever this is with Sam Tripoli and Austin Picard. It's our subscriber show. It's on patreon.com/propaganda report, propreport.locals.com. And we were talking about Bad Bunny. And we listened to let me play the video of the guy singing Bad Bunny in English first. And then I will finish this story that once and for all tells me all I need to know about, are they listening to you through your devices or not? So this guy did one of Bad Bunny's songs on X, I think it was. Yeah. That Kid Rock is so weird. All right, this guy, if they just would have like, just give us the lyrics and people could enjoy it, but everybody was confused. This guy, he told us what Bad Bunny was saying.
The English version? Hey, so my auntie asked me why I got so many girlfriends. Hey, a lot of girlfriends. Today I got one and tomorrow I got another one. But I never marry. Yo, my auntie asked me why I got so many girlfriends. Hey, a lot of girlfriends. Today I got one and tomorrow I got another one. Man, I think I want to take them all to the VIP, to the VIP. Hey, where they can be my auntie and we're going to take a selfie and say cheese. They smile if they already been with me in the VIP, in the VIP. Hey, where they can be my auntie and we're going to take a selfie and say cheese. They can smile the ones that forget about me. Man, I like the Gabrielas and the Patricias and the Nicoles and the Sophias. My girl in kindergarten name was Maria and my first love, her name was Talia. Got a Colombian that texts me every day. A Mexican girl that I don't even know. Wait, one from San Antonio still in love with me. Puerto Rican girl just from me, you see. I got a Dominican girl, body insane. Ooh, body insane. And one that flew from Barcelona on a plane. And she's always bragging on my thing. Man, I let them play with my heart a lot. I want to move them in a mansion top from spot. And when I wipe them up, I'm going to send you an invite, bro. Just quit with all that now. Hey, when my auntie asked me why I got so many girlfriends. Hey, a lot of girlfriends. Today I'll have one and tomorrow I got another one. But I never marry. Yo, my auntie asked me why I got so many girlfriends. Hey, a lot of girlfriends. Today I'll have one and tomorrow I'll have another one. The breakdown, here we go. And my auntie asked me, and my auntie asked me, and my auntie asked me, what did she say? She said, what are you doing over there with all them girlfriends? You know, man, I think I want to take them all to the VIP, to the VIP. Hey, yo, this is Compa Lang. We're singing some Bad Bunny. This is TT Man Pregunto.
So my first question is, why is his aunt so involved in his love life? What's his aunt doing in the club with him? Why does his aunt keep asking him why he has so? It sounds a little incestual or overbearing, one of the two. Nevertheless, after talking about Bad Bunny and his song about his aunt's insistence on knowing why he's got so many girlfriends that he wants to take to the VIP, we concluded the show, and Sam said, thank you for staying up late, because they're in California and I'm on the East Coast. So we do the show at 1 a.m. So 1 a.m. my time, and it's 10 their time. He said, thank you for staying up late. And I said, oh, yeah, no, I love doing the show with you guys. I'm a night owl anyway, right? So after we then logged off, and that was how we ended the show. And about 5 minutes later, I open up Instagram after talking about Bad Bunny's auntie and saying, oh, I'm a night owl. And the first thing that shows up in my feed on Instagram is this. I don't follow this person. This person's name is Auntie. What is it? Auntie Hammy. And Auntie Hammy, on this video that showed up, this is what she's doing in it.
Just like the owl comes out at night, my coochie comes out late at night. Just like the owl comes out at night, my coochie comes out late at night. Night owl, night owl,
You see what I'm talking about?
night owl, a night owl.
That's all she does. This has popped up in my... So I'm talking about Bad Bunny's aunt, and I say I'm a night owl. Open up Instagram after the show. Some woman I've never seen before, don't follow, whose name is Auntie, who's singing a song, popping her pee, about how she's a night owl. I mean, that is crazy. Isn't that crazy? Like, WTF, that's crazy. And this woman, I looked at her page. Now this is all that's going to show up in my feed now. Like, I'm condemned to the end of eternity. Look at this. She's got 343,000 followers. She probably has a really nice house, like maybe $1 million house, that she has paid for, because I have scrolled through, by just going to various locations, wearing underwear with an owl on it, and singing that song. I'm at a stop sign, night owl, and she's popping the pee. She's in the woods. She's popping the pee, night owl. She's by Dunkin' Donuts, popping the pee, night owl. She's outside. She's at Walmart, and she's like, "Do you want to come over, Auntie Mammy, or whatever her name is, and watch a movie tonight?" She's like, "No, I gotta go. I gotta pay the bills. I gotta work tonight." And then she goes and she just pops the pee in the night owl outfit, outside of some random apartment complex, wherever the hell she lives. We're putting together all this content. We're working hard every day. She's popping the pee in the night owl outfit, $343K, probably selling those night owl underwear, and it's showing up in my feed because Instagram is listening. By the way, that's subscriber content that Instagram is listening to. You're supposed to pay a subscription fee to hear us talk about Auntie and I'm a night owl, but it's listening anyway. And I get pee popping night owl song that's been stuck in my head for almost 24 hours now. To me, it's humorous that happened, but it's also really crazy. Popping the handstand. Yeah, dude. That's a hoot. Yeah, that's a good one. Darkway Bohemian Owl Puss, says Ryan Bradley. Yikes. She could that does look like something you might drive by on Boulevard or Moreland, do so you could be right about that. Like I could see her doing that after the Hawks lose by 47 points and they're just leaving after the game, and she's just like doing that. Cheer them up. Or maybe the dream. Maybe Brittany Griner likes a little night owl pee popping. We don't know. Probably. I loved the UFC fight a couple weeks ago with the guy. The Joe Rogan never gets his first question answered. He says, like, how do you feel about the fight? What'd you do? Tell us about the movie you did. And they're always like, I want to thank God, and Brittany Griner's a man. It's just like, the dude's on like a 10-year-old conspiracy. He just saw the video of Brittany Griner playing basketball by the pool. Is there there's a strike incoming for is there like a missile strike? They're going to get him out, or they're going to, how can the WNBA strike? Don't you have to have a big audience? Or I mean, it's like me going on strike. Like what are they striking? Brittany on Grindr. I am sad that Trey left, though, because I wanted to see that billboard with Michael Penix Jr., Trey Young, Brittany Griner. So it's perfect for the Epstein files because you have the three of them there. You have Michael Penix. He's standing there. Yeah, Brittany Griner. Brittany Griner's like holding Trey Young like a baby. And it's young Penix Griner. It's a very Jeffrey Epstein billboard. That's where I'm going to end the show. Let's say goodbye. Edmund's sleeping. See, I'm going to throw something at Edmund. Let's get Edmund on the screen. It's a little dark. Let's get a little dark. Yeah, dude, me either, dude. No views never stop me. Edmund, you're supposed to go there, buddy. Go show him your face. Go get some of that. You gonna go over there? Check this out, y'all. Let me show you this. I do need to promote this. I just got to figure out how to send the link to Instagram. So Edmund is actually in the finals of this thing called America's Next Top Pet. Oh, jeez. And I feel I should be advocating a little more than I am. I mean, to me, he's the top pet. Here. I have to show this because it's only 3 days left. And I had to reset. I have to reset my password for everything all the time. They're like, you need a different password for everything. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to reset my password every single time I log into things. And like every time, I'm going to reset my password. I can't remember 8,000 passwords. If I write them down, what if they get lost in a fire? What if they get stolen? Because you can't put the passwords that are written down in the same place. You have to hide them in different places. You got to bury them in your yard. I mean, it's ridiculous. What's your crypto key? It's buried somewhere in my fucking yard. I don't remember where. No, I thought it was there, but that's my email password. Shit. I have 8,000 passwords buried in my yard. Oh, here he is. All right. Oh, no, that's not it. Oh, there he is. There he is. He's such a good dog. Here he is, and then I'm going to get out of here. Why is it not sharing? There. All right. This is Edmund's profile for America's Next Top Pet. Right now, oh, he's in second. He's falling. He wasn't first. Uh-oh. So he's got to be in first so we have 2 days left. And if he's in first, then he goes to the quarterfinals, and the winner gets $10,000. So he's like my star child, basically. And I need this. He needs this. We need this. And Jenny McCarthy and the Backstreet Boy, she's not the Backstreet Boy, the new kid on the block she's married to, Donnie Wahlberg. They're hosting it. I don't know how it works. Got to get him back to the top. That's all I know. They like make you do some weird thing on Facebook though to verify it. I'll put the thing in the chats in case you guys want to jump in on it. That's how you vote for Edmund there, right there. And, we'll leave it. I'll take myself out of it. We'll put him on there. He's a cute dog. He's a good boy. He's the best dog a guy could have. In my opinion, as your dogs are the best dogs a guy and a girl could have. Good night, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me and chatting with me. Always enjoy it. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Y'all have a fantastic rest of your day.